Hi guys, it's Hani here, and today I'm gonna be sharing with you step-by-step tutorial on how to make this beautiful Christmas house adorned with poinsettia flowers. So let's get started. First I'm going to make my decorations. These are going to be shutters, and on top of my template I put a piece of parchment. You can also use a wax paper and secure it with a masking tape so it's not sliding. And then use 15-second consistency red royal icing, outline and flood each shutter. We're going to need 4 shutters total, and after you're done outlining and flooding, you need to let these dry. Place them on a flat surface and you can forget about them for about 6 to 7 hours or so. Once these are dry, we're just going to add really simple white outline. I'm using thick royal icing here, and we're going to add some sanding sugar as well. I'm gonna do 2 shutters at a time just so my icing is not crusted when I'm adding my sanding sugar, otherwise it's not going to stick to the royal icing. And then you can let this dry for about an hour. Once this is dry, you can simply remove the shutters from the parchment and use them to decorate the house. Alright, so the next decoration we're going to need is going to be poinsettia flowers. So make a V-shaped opening on your piping bag, like so. And then, again, I'm using a template and a piece of parchment, tape to secure it, and now we're ready to pipe. So I'm going to pipe leaves, 5 leaves, to create poinsettia flowers. I'm turning the template and piping more leaves. These are really easy to do, and you can also make these ahead of time. These are royal icing transfers. They last for many months and even years if stored properly. The only issue with transfers that can occur is fading of the color, and that happens if you expose these to direct sunlight for a long time. Now with yellow royal icing, pipe the center. This is about piping consistency, and now we have to let these dry. Once these are dry, you can remove them from the parchment, and there you go. Now last decoration, we're going to make these, I don't know what to call these, snowballs, pom-poms, whatever you want. So I'm using white royal icing. This is about 15-second consistency, and then dusting it with white sanding sugar. I'm going to let these dry completely before I remove the sanding sugar. So you want to give these a good 5 to 6 hours to dry, and then remove the sanding sugar, and then you can remove these from the parchment. Aren't they adorable? And now we're ready to decorate. So I'm going to start with the roof panel. We're going to need 2 roof panels. I'm using 15-second consistency red royal icing. You're going to outline and then flood the whole roof with red. When you're doing the outline, you don't really have to do a lot of squeezing, but once you are filling the area, you can squeeze the piping bag a little more, and more icing is going to come out. And then use your scribe to distribute the icing and shape the corners. And then we're going to have to let this dry overnight. So put it on a flat surface like a tray or a baking sheet, and you can forget about it. If you have a fan running close by, that's really helpful. It increases the airflow and it speeds up the drying process. Once this is dry, we can add some snow. So I'm using my 15-second consistency white royal icing and just adding some detail on the top of the roof. And then with a scribe, again, you're gonna smooth that and distribute the icing. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, so just make sure that you're covering up all the areas. And then take white sanding sugar and generously dust it with some sugar. And then you have to repeat this on the other side. Now we're gonna make the front of the house. So you should have your template and ready to go. So use a scribe tool to trace the outline for the windows and the door. If you have edible marker, you can also utilize that. I'm also making smaller window inside of the door, and I'm using, this is a navy blue royal icing, and I actually used royal blue with just a touch of black gel food color to create this nice navy blue. So you want to outline and then fill in. I'm going to use gold star decorations. Now these could be sprinkles, or you could also use nonpareils. If you don't have gold stars, those would be really lovely on this as well. These gold stars are kind of finicky to work with, so you have to use your scribe to pick up the stars, and then you can place them onto the icing. Icing needs to be still wet when you're adding these. Now we can finish the top window. And don't forget to add the stars, and then let it crust for about an hour. And now we're going to outline the whole thing with white royal icing, 15-second consistency. 15-second consistency basically means when you're running a spatula through your icing, the line that the spatula creates is going to heal within the 15 seconds. So I'm going to ice my cookie, and then we're going to use the scribe to smooth it and accentuate the corners. And after this we have to let the panel dry. Try not to move it too much during the drying time, because you can develop hairlines in your icing. This is a pretty big cookie, so just put it on a flat tray and let it dry. Once dry, we can add the details. I'm just going to do the door with red royal icing. This is 15-second consistency here. And then we can, we need to let the door dry again before we do the next step. So you can, while that's drying, you can work on other panels. Now, once the door is dry, I'm going to use my thick royal icing and outline each window. I'm also going to make smaller window panes, piping lines across, and then dusting it with white sanding sugar. And I'm going to repeat this on all of the windows and also on the door. And then lastly we're going to do the door, and then we can, you just need to pick up the piece and the sanding sugar is going to fall down. Look how pretty. Now I'm going to add the doorknob with yellow royal icing, and now the shutters. Remember the shutters we made earlier? Use a little bit of royal icing on the back to glue them onto the cookie. And now we can add those beautiful poinsettia flowers. I'm just going to add them onto the windows, and now we can do the back of the house. So for the back of the house, I'm also going to do a little window. I'm utilizing same template I used for the front of the house, using navy blue royal icing and then also gold stars. But like I said, if you don't have the gold stars, you can use white nonpareils, or you can use different gold stars. And use your scribe to pick up little pieces. Now we're going to outline. Make sure that the window is crusted, so let it crust for about 30 minutes or so, and then you can use white royal icing to outline this whole section. This whole process of making gingerbread houses, it can take several days. The drying time is an important inactive period, so don't skip it, because your icing is it's not going to work if you don't let the icing dry completely. Now I'm going to outline the window with thick royal icing. Make the grid also, pipe a line across, and then dust it with white sanding sugar. Okay, now on this design I am going to also add the shutters, and we're going to make a poinsettia wreath about the window, just to make it a little more festive. One poinsettia on the window, and then to make the wreath, pipe a circle with I'm using 15-second consistency real icing here, and then you can glue your poinsettia flowers onto the icing. For the side panels, both of the side panels are going to be the same, and I'm using my navy blue real icing to make the windows. And again, I'm just going to add the stars, and then we have to let it crust. Again, maybe 30-40 minutes should be sufficient, and then you can outline with white royal icing. Alright, so you want to go around each window and then fill in all the sections. Sometimes it's also helpful to ice the sections, ice the whole thing in smaller sections. If that's helpful, you can work like that, but never let the icing crust, because then it's going to create lines in your royal icing. So give it a little shake, let it dry, and now we can add outlines and also sanding sugar. Again, remember, you have to do this on both sides. So you have two side panels and back panel and front panel. I'm going to add poinsettia flowers, and now we can build the house. So I'm going to assemble the base first, and we're going to pipe royal icing on the edge here and add the sides and then add the back. Now, for whatever reason, it didn't film for me, so you're just going to see this section here. Now let that dry for about 3-4 hours, and then you can add the roof. To keep the roof from sliding down, you can use little bottles, or I like to use small skewers, and just prop it up like this for about 3-4 hours. So while that's drying, you can also start working on finishing up. I'm going to add some icing between the roof panels, and then dust it with more sanding sugar to create a nice wintry roof. And now we can add those cute little buttons we made. I'm gonna be using those to decorate the edge. Just add a little bit of icing and then glue those on. There. And then on the top, if you have some poinsettia flowers, those would look really nice on the top of the roof. Very festive. And there. And here's the finished poinsettia gingerbread house. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Hopefully you will try to make this one at home. And if you do, don't forget to send me pictures. I always enjoy seeing what you guys create. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.